Hello, I'm Pine Fiasco here again with another Talishar.net gameplay video as everyone is gearing up for Nationals and calling in 2 weeks. Expect more of these Metaslave videos, Iyslander, Dromai, Bravo, Lexi. It's what everyone is playing, it's what I'm playing against, and I am particularly happy to get the practice into Iyslander and Lexi in particular. Those are our bad matchups. Been chosen to go second here, makes sense. This matchup is all about getting value and profiting from little incremental value gains we can get. One of those being Tunic. So going first in this matchup means that you have the first Tunic counter, Tunic activation, and that can often just get you all the way there. This is an old version of the deck that I'm playing now. Currently, I am experimenting with an Arcane Lantern into this matchup, replacing a Kodachi, so something I'll be trying to pay attention to throughout the course of this game is how many second Kodachis we're using. The benefit of double Kodachi being, or of Arcane Lantern being, for example, when we are set to go second, we can actually prevent some of this free damage. Take 3 there instead of 5. As it is, we are just playing out this hand, trying not to arsenal anything without natural go again. We don't want to get punished by Cold Snap as much as possible, so having to play a starter from hand and getting Cold Snapped in response is pretty bad for us. Speaking of pretty bad for us, opponent with Insidious Chill on turn 1. Insidious Chill is a card that can either be completely useless or extremely punishing based on how the Iyslander draws. If you win a game with, or if you play a game, and by the end of it an Iyslander has expended all charges on Insidious Chill, you've probably lost that game. I'm also experimenting with cutting Rise from the Ashes from the main deck into this matchup, replacing it with Command and Conquer, as I am now running Breaking Point in the main. Rise from the Ashes is a card that can occasionally get you very good value, like we saw here. Picking up our Phoenix Flame, attacking with Mounting Anger for 7, very good, right? The problem with Rise from the Ashes is it has the potential to stick a Phoenix Flame in your hand. Channel 8 Frigid, any kind of interaction, you have an all-red hand, you play your starter for 6 and your opponent blizzards and you don't have a good follow-up, you just get stuck with a Phoenix Flame. Here, opponent coming in with Command and Conquer. This is the first play I really want to talk about. This hand sucks, so we are perfectly content to just block 6, protect our Art of War, send Kodachi Snatch back at our opponent. If they have a Channel 8 Frigid in Arsenal, we could potentially use our Tunic to play out our Snatch. We would likely do this. With a Channel 8 Frigid on the board, Tunic is really no longer an option. We would have to pitch a resource to activate the Tunic, so it isn't a good workaround for Coronet Peak. So blocking 6 here, sending 5, potentially 6 back at our opponent with Salt the Wound and Snatch. Just protecting our Art of War, setting up for a good Art of War turn. Opponent has no response to the Kodachi, so we are fine to send another one. Possible that this is a Sink Below in their arsenal. Possible that it is Wounded Bull, a Fandal's Fighting Spirit. We've seen at least one attack action card from our Iyslander, so we can pretty safely put them on Iyslander as opposed to the arcane lists that we're seeing more of. We can decide here if we want to use Snapdragon Scalers. This is a double draw effect, snatches effect and mask momentum's effect. We have no floating resources, so this is not, there is a potential downside to this line of play, snapping here, but we have a Tunic, we have an Art of War in our arsenal just in case. Here I am inclined to snap. We are up 12 life, and we are looking to put the pressure on our Iyslander. With their reluctance to block really any damage here, we can put them on using the Aether Hail from Arsenal, probably not much. So probably just we're not incredibly threatened by kodachis, but as it is, we're getting our double draw. It sucks, but we can make a snap decision here to play out the Art of War. Banishing our second Phoenix Flame, we get a much better hand off of this. So we do have some interesting options available to us. Currently, no Draconic Links on the chain. Let's back up. I don't feel like I gave that Art of War enough consideration. So we snap, we draw a Phoenix Flame, we draw a Soulbeat Strike. Currently we have one Frostbite on our side of the table, so this Art of War costs 2. With this hand, it's terrible. Phoenix Flame does not have power at this point in time. We have no Draconic Links. So in order to do literal anything with this turn, we would pitch Soulbeat Strike to FaB, pick up a Phoenix Flame, play Phoenix Flame for 0, then play our second Phoenix Flame for 2. We could also potentially attack with Soulbeat Strike for 2. If it hits, then our Phoenix Flame comes in for 1, based off of Tiger Strike Shuko. But that sucks. These 2 cards are worth 3 points of damage if this doesn't get blocked, and if this does get blocked, Iyslander just blocks from hand, arsenals, and passes. Well, now we're stuck with the worst card in our deck. We never want to start the turn with a Phoenix Flame in our hand. Going back to why Rise from the Ashes can be so devastating if you get straight in with your Phoenix Flame. So here we'll have 2 floating resources to pay for a potential Blizzard. We have the potential to do anything with this hand. Since we have just snapped, we really want to put pressure on our opponent, knowing that there are no more surprises out of Arsenal. They cannot Striders out a fused Icebane. They cannot Striders, at least to my knowledge, they can't Striders out anything that would fuse with ice to use the Insidious Chill. So here we are just going to Art of War to try to make anything out of these 2 horrendously bad cards we've drawn. We banish our Phoenix Flame, we pick up a blue Brand with Cinderclaw and an Enlightened Strike. So now we do have options. 2, really. We can either play our Enlightened Strike, bottoming our Brand. Like I was saying before, with not wanting to put cards without natural go again into my arsenal, I am inclined to send this Enlightened Strike for 8 rather than 6 draw a card. There are a lot of misses in this deck that make arsenaling a blind card much worse than it is in other matchups. So what I'm looking to do instead is play my Brand with Cinderclaw for 2 with Go Again. Now I have 1 Draconic Link on the table. I can spend these 2 resources to pick up my Phoenix Flame which comes in for 3. So we're pushing a total of 5 damage here and arsenaling Enlightened Strike. Arsenaling Enlightened Strike is a bit worse now that we don't have Snapdragon Scalers. We are looking to get the lowest value mode out of E-Strike in 5 Go Again. But I do like that more than just not having an arsenal here. Push 5, put an E-Strike in arsenal. We can E-Strike away a red to get Go Again. I do believe that is the higher value line. So we push our 5, we arsenal an E-Strike, and we see this hand. So what is Iyslander going to do to us? I would expect from 2 cards, an Encase, or a Peak. Okay, so they back up, they block with the Ice Fang. They'll just arsenal and pass the turn. So what are we looking to do here? We have a Flame Call Awakening that is now worthless because our second Phoenix Flame is out of our deck. I do not want to get got by Cold Snap, so here I am starting my turn, Enlightened Strike for 5 Go Again, bottoming a Flame Call Awakening. That gives us a few lines. We can pay for Blizzard with our blue Lava Vein. Pay for Blizzard and the additional Frostbite, which then lets us send E-Strike for 7. We can pay through a Channel Link Frigid. We could potentially Mounting Anger for 4, paying 3, and arsenaling our Enlightened Strike. But this is looking to be a 12 damage turn, and at the minimum, if Iyslander just doesn't interact with us at all, that's pretty good too. Starting out not interacting with us. So here we can, there it is. So we get a Frostbite out of Arsenal, which means that we will take our 3 here, likely another 3 from the Tunic. Paying for Waning Moon, here it is, puts us to 24. Let this all play out. Iyslander goes to 2. So now, with our 1 Frostbite, we are in an interesting spot where we cannot afford to Kodachi Mounting Anger. We could, but we would have to pitch our Enlightened Strike. We really don't want to do that. What I'm looking at doing here instead is Kodachi Enlightened Strike, bottoming the Mounting Anger. This is a total of 9 damage, assuming no Blizzard shenanigans. Here, if we Kodachi, we pitch the Lava Vein, we have 2 floating resources, 1 floating resource. We do get got by a Blizzard. What we can do in that case is pitch our Enlightened Strike, pay 2 to keep Go Again on the Kodachi, and then just arsenal this Mounting Anger. We can get the Enlightened Strike out of our hand. But I would like to think that if Iyslander did have Blizzard, she would have played it on that first link. So we will just go forward with our Kodachi E-Strike for 7 line. I believe this marks the first time in this game that we have sent our second Kodachi. Getting 4 cards from our 4 damage on our Iyslander, thankfully drawing a card with natural Go Again. And drawing a really good hand on the backside of it. Here we get our first Insidious trigger. Let's look at how we can deal with this hand. Iyslander revealing a Channel Link Frigid, so we know that we're going to have that to deal with. This is a hand where, if I'm making this call now, based on this being the only interaction, the only disruption we've seen from Iyslander, I am probably looking for a line like pitch the blue to chill, pitch the blue to chill, have 2 floating resources. Rising Resentment, Kodachi, Double Strike, Arsenal, Art of War. Yes, we know that there is a Channel Link Frigid waiting for us on the other side of Iyslander's turn, but we will have our Tunic activation. There is a potential that we can get enough damage over the top of the Channel Lake that Iyslander is forced to give us enough cards that she cannot keep it around, or that her turn is just peak pass. So if I'm making this call now, I'm pitching double blue to the chill trigger and the Ice Vein, and looking to Art of War next turn. I don't like Art of Warring here. Art of Warring here just puts us in a weird spot where we're having we would want to pitch our Warmongers, banish our Double Strike, leave us with a brand so that we have the option to pay for things, and just really, there's too much, at least the way I see it, there's too much opportunity to just really clunk up our hand. Spend all this work, choosing to pitch the Art of War instead. Interesting. So what this allows us to do is play out our brand, which is going to let us recur a Phoenix Flame. I want to back this up because I'm really not sure. Okay, so if I double pitch blue, I have 2 floating resources. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 links with an Art of War in Arsenal. We have seen that the Iyslander would block this Rising Resentment, but I'm inclined to believe they would do it even if we didn't know they would. So we are going to get 1 card out of them from hand, and probably this Gauntlet to stop a mask trigger. So we are looking at dealing 3 damage to Iyslander, putting an Art of War in Arsenal. They would have 2 cards in hand, possibly peek me Arsenal and pass. If we take this line instead, leaving us with brand, double strike, 1 floating, now this is blocked. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more links. We're getting another block out of our Iyslander. This line does let us take advantage of Shuko. We can play our brand here. We can attack with a Kodachi to put 2 links on the chain. Then we attack with Double Strike, which gets the Shuko buff. Or we just get a block out of Iyslander here. Okay. Attacking with Double Strike, this 2 damage will go through. Our Gauntlet, our second Double Strike will get the Gauntlet to prevent the mask trigger, and we can send a Phoenix Flame to put our opponent to 9. Overall, I understand the line here. I don't agree with it in hindsight. Pushing 5 damage and leaving an Art of War in Arsenal, I think would have been a much better line. Yes, we know that our opponent will have Channel Link Frigid, but we have options to play around it. So see our hand here. Let the turn go, let Tunic tick up. So imagine our opponent is still at 9, because we would have done, we could have put the same number of links on the chain, the same blocks still happen, but now we have an Art of War here, and we have our Tunic. We play our Roman Renegade, our opponent Channel Link Frigids, we use our Tunic, we play the Art of War, banish a Roman Renegade. So we still have a blue in hand, plus whatever else we draw. This Diplomacy pays for the Blaze Headlong through the Frostbite and the Channel Link Frigid, and we have a floating resource for another Head Jab. Just going back, I think too much value was lost by pitching that Art of War that we could have kept by having 2 floating resources. As it is, deciding whether we need to activate our Tunic here. Tunic at this point is a additional resource for, say, picking up a Phoenix Flame. Not the most exciting use of our Tunic resource, but as I was saying earlier in the video, once Channel Link comes down, we no longer get value out of a Tunic. It's just stuck. Icelanders are very good at keeping Channel Link around for 2 of our turns, so we'll have enough time to let the Tunic reaccumulate stacks. By the time the Channel Link comes down, our Tunic is available again. So using the Tunic when the Channel Link happens, if you can do it, I recommend it. Don't just generate a floating resource to let it go away. If you cannot utilize your Tunic trigger, your Tunic counter, then keep it. But otherwise, here we accumulate some value. We pick up a Phoenix Flame and put it in our arsenal. That's better than not doing that. Here we get peaked. With this hand, we're not looking to play our Phoenix Flame. This is all red, so we are really looking to just... what can we do with this? We can pitch our Spreading Flames to the peak. We have an interesting line where we can double strike, pitch, play Phoenix Flame, pitch, and Phoenix Flame will get the Shuko trigger. But I like playing the Snatch just as 4 damage. So we can pitch the Spreading Flames to the peak, pitch our double strike to the Snatch, hold the Ravenous Rabble, and just send it back to our opponent. If our opponent was at 1, there would be merit to double strike Phoenix Flame, but with them at 2, we just need to push some damage here. Opponent blocking with Red Ice Fan is great for us. Tells them that their hand is pretty bad. They're giving us an Ice Fan and a blue. I would say we can likely put them on not having an ice card. Otherwise, they would just Ice Fan us. We draw a blue and 2 very good red cards. which is great news for us. Freezing our arsenal is sort of obnoxious. Here, Iyslander just looking for something. Without that first ice card that they would have used to fuse the Ice Vein, I can still assume that Channel Lake will not be sticking around. They're on a Bowlander list, so perhaps they are just looking for something to pitch. But let's think about this. We have our Chill Trigger and a Brain Freeze. So we have at least some choice of which of these we can get rid of. Assuming that our Iyslander does not have an ice card, we will not have to deal with a Frostbite on her turn, on our turn. So if we pitch our, looking at this hand without the Brain Freeze, if it's just a chill trigger, we're getting rid of our Ravenous Rabble. These are three very good cards. With a Brain Freeze on the table, if we lose our Ravenous Rabble, our opponent can take Brand, leave us with a blue and a Blaze Headlong. The Blaze will not have go again, so we can attack with Kodachi, Blaze, pass. That's still 6 damage. It's still very good. But maybe there's something else we can do. If we keep our Rabble, say we get rid of a Blaze Headlong, our opponent puts Lava Vein Loyalty back on top of our deck, Rabble will reveal a blue and hit for 2. This is now our lowest damage card. So looking at this, I am inclined to discard Rabble to the Insidious Chill, keep these 3, let our opponent decide if they're taking 6 damage, 7 damage, or 6 damage. Sorry, this would be 5 damage. If we pay the Chill Trigger with Lava Vein Loyalty, then we actually have a pretty good hand, right? This is always 3, this is always 4, this is always 4. So looking at this now and thinking about the line that way, I do like paying Chill Trigger with the Lava Vein, keeping Brand, Blaze, Rabble. The hand will always do a minimum of 7 damage. Choosing instead to toss the Rabble, which does make sense based on Lava Vein Loyalty going back, Rabble would flip a blue, but like we just mathed out in our head, our opponent takes Blaze here. Brand plus Lava Vein is only 5 damage, because we don't have a Phoenix Flame to pick up in our yard, and our Phoenix Flame here is frozen, and will be frozen throughout our turn from the Cold Snap. So our base damage here, our floor, is 5 damage. Which, yes, will get some sort of interaction from the Iyslander. We'll get 2 cards. They'll have to block Brand. They'll have to block the second Kodachi. But if we toss Lava Vein Loyalty to the Chill, now our floor is 7. Regardless. Well, potentially Rabble could flip something else, but assuming that our Rabble is going to hit 4, our floor is 7. Here, throwing a Blaze, assuming that Iyslander has some kind of interaction in her arsenal, but as we mapped out, just based on her blocking with an Ice Vein having a chill on the board, she doesn't have an ice card. We could maybe say that she drew one from having well, I suppose she did, right? She revealed something from the brain freeze. Oh my gosh, this game is hard. So yes, throwing out the blaze there was correct. Jeepers. Which means we know what this card in Arsenal is. Oh my goodness. Another Channel Lake Frigid is fine. We are not looking to use our Tunic because double Kodachi would cost 5 resources. With Tunic and Lava Vein, we only have 4. Which would be perfect if this Phoenix Flame wasn't frozen. But as it is, we cannot use the Tunic trigger. So this is an example of having that Tunic available, being Channel Linked Frigid, so potentially looking to get our value, but it just wouldn't do anything. We can't use that trigger at all, so we might as well just save it. Maybe our Iyslander only keeps Channel Lake around for 1 turn instead of 2, and now our Tunic is available, whereas it would not have been in that situation. The brain freeze just happens. Revealing an Aether Hail. This Aether Hail is either going to go to Moon in order to keep Channel Lake, or Channel Lake is going to go away. In either case, Iyslander does not have a second source of disruption. It's either the Channel Lake or an Aether Hail from Arsenal. Here they have a choice of Salt the Wound or Enlightened Strike. If I was them, I would put Enlightened Strike on the deck, otherwise I'm going to send 7. Choosing to moon us for 3, for 2. So no Arsenal from Iyslander, but a Channel Lake. Looking here to send Flame Call, pitching either of our yellows. I don't believe this matters. 3 with Go Again, then looking to send Kodachi for 1. Just pushing 4 damage, getting some blocks from Iyslander. We can leave our Phoenix Flame in the arsenal, because if we were to play our Phoenix Flame, we just wouldn't have an arsenal, and we would have 1 leftover resource. So, Flame Call for 3, Kodachi for 1, send it back to Iyslander. Iyslander blizzards us, which is fine. We are still getting 2 cards from Iyslander, which is what we expected to happen. She plays the blizzard. She blocks the flame call. That's fine. We are going to keep this Art of War in hand. We are not going to pay for blizzard. Not necessarily because it's an Art of War, but because it's a yellow. We just want resources. Our Iyslander is going to have 2 cards in hand. Likely that they cannot keep Channel Lake around. But even so, we'll have our Tunic. Yeah, it's cool if we can play the Art of War as an Art of War. But it's also just a yellow. It'll pay for our turn. The only time I'm really looking to pay for a blizzard, even when I cannot afford to attack after it, is with a handful of reds. I like to get rid of my reds when I can. Icebind, revealing a chill, freezing our arsenal again, choosing to moon us for 2 here, losing the Channel Lake, not having an arsenal. With us at 9 and Iyslander having no arsenal, I feel very good about our chances to win this game, because I don't believe that Iyslander can kill us from 9 with no arsenal. I believe the most she can do is 8. With Red Ice Vein and Waning Moon. With a card in Arsenal, she can easily do a minimum of 8 on our turn, and likely 9. Here, Iyslander just looking to get cards from us, but with her at 1, she just feels very dead. So, having to pay 2 or discard to the Ice Vein, we know that there is a 2 block in hand, so the 2 block and the Tunic can stop our Rising Resentment. At this point, I am likely going to discard the Brand with Cinderclaw, because I want to keep an Enlightened Strike in Arm 4. If no further disruption happens, I'll just send E-Strike for 7 and win the game. If one of these is a Blizzard, if we have a Polar Blast and a Blizzard, and I no longer have my Brand, Polar Blast and Tunic block the Rising. Blizzard is the last card in hand. Now I have 4 resources available to pay for a Kodachi. Art of War pays for Blizzard, Enlightened Strike pays for the Frostbite, Tunic pays for the Kodachi, and we get a clean win that way. So again, unsure what line I'll take in the game, but here as a spectator, the line is discard Brand, either send E-Strike for the win, or send a Kodachi through a Blizzard for the win. Choosing instead to roll the dice with an Art of War. We're fortunate in that we do find a blue. Here, likely discarding the Lava Burst, since we are still looking at 1 link, 2 more links. And with these being 4 power, we are able to just win. No Blizzard. Here we get our Icelander's life. So, very good game. we played through 2 Channel Lake Frigids, at least 1 Blizzard. Played through a fully resolved Insidious Chill. Honestly, a very tough game. I feel it was to our advantage that the Iyslander could not play many physical attacks. So yes, she was disrupting us. Yes, we were having to really spend time grinding through her best disruption, but on her end, not a lot of damage being thrown back at us. We still had all of our armor available to block a Wounded Bull or a Fiendal's Fighting Spirit. Just really getting those points of value where we can, really just waiting for our opportunities. Wringing out the value is how you get wins over Iyslander. Outvaluing her good turns and taking advantage of her bad turns. So hopefully that is helpful. This is a matchup where FaB is unfavored, but I feel like very navigable. And you can definitely have games where you have an unanswered Art of War and do just insane damage that she can't keep up with. So hopefully that helps. I am looking forward to seeing you all next week for another series of videos. Probably more Lexi next week. That's what I've been testing into specifically on Talishar. But I will see you all then. Good luck in your games.